So in this video, I wanted to take a quick look at a very cool and extremely affordable fountain pen. This is the Wingsung 3003. Wingsung is probably the top manufacturer of Chinese fountain pens, and that's obviously fountain pens made in China, but sort of the larger category of these hyper affordable fountain pens that have been flooding the market. And they sell for about $2 or $3 per pen. You can buy them on Amazon in 4-packs for like $8 or $9, or from eBay and other sources, AliExpress, whatever, for about $2 to $3 per pen. This one cost me about $2. I bought it from eBay. That's $2 shipped, which is wild. The pen is a pretty clear copy of the Pilot Prera. That's Prera, a pen that sells for about $40 here in the US. So it's a clear plastic demonstrator pen with a steel nib, and again, a number of features that mimic the Prera, mostly the cap and clip area. Getting into the pen itself, we could see steel nib. I bought it in extra fine. It's also sold in a fine. I don't believe there are any other sizes. Clear feed and clear section. Pretty cool looking. Some metal hardware here and here. Clear plastic body. Smoke cap, another callback to the Prera. This cap, or this piece, this end piece, doesn't do anything. It turns, but it doesn't function because this pen's not a piston filler. It's actually a cartridge converter. Here we see the converter, which was included with the pen. It's a piston style converter. Pushes right in here. It's a really good fit. The converter to me looks a lot like a Lamy. It's a Lamy Z26. Z28 is about the same thing. They look basically identical, although Lamy's is obviously a little bit, maybe not obvious, but the Lamy's a little bit nicer made. And there is a little bit of a spring in here. You can see it right there, and that'll prevent any bubbles from forming and prevent you from pushing anything too far down. And again, it's a nice fit here. I don't know if it'll fit a cartridge. I would imagine it would, since it could fit the converter, but I'm not sure which type of cartridge it would fit. I'm gonna have to test that out. I'm gonna guess a Lamy or possibly a Pilot, but unclear there. Here's the cap, all plastic. I'm guessing you probably could turn this into an eyedropper, since it's plastic here and plastic here, but I have not attempted that yet. I'm not sure how good this seal is here. I'm a little bit suspicious because this piece can spin a little bit. This screws down. You can see, again, cartridge converter inside of a clear demonstrator body. It's not always the most elegant look, but it seems fine to me. Moving on to the cap, we can see metal clip band, firm metal clip in that distinctive Prera shape, which I don't exactly love, but it's fine. It's actually a little bit hard to use because it's a blunt nose and a lot of force is required to pick it up. The cap band has pulled off once or twice when I've taken the pen out of the cap, and you can see it's held on without any hardware, without any sort of epoxy or anything like that. So it's a minor shortcoming, but if you put it in here and you give it a good squeeze, it seems fine. Blind cap, and it's worth noting that the cap hasn't collected any ink. A lot of times when you have a push cap instead of a screw cap, when you pull it off, there could be a little bit of suction action, especially when it's a good fit like this. And a little ink could spit out. It hasn't happened here. So we'll see how, I haven't any problems with it drying out either. It seems like a nice mix of good fit with no suction action, but that's probably gonna vary from pen to pen. Hard to say. Mine has not had any problems. The fit is quite good. Right about here, you can start feeling some resistance. You can see it's definitely not going anywhere. And then there's a nice firm click right at the end. So that's really nicely done. As for the little finial here, you could see it's a pen with some concentric circles. It's annoyingly off-center, which is, I'd rather not have anything in there and have it off-centered, but it kind of is what it is. you know, this is a $2 pen and there are going to be some inconsistencies and some shortcomings, and this is definitely one of them. That said, it is kind of nicely etched in there. So maybe if you buy 10 of these, maybe 5 of them will be on center. I really have no idea. And there's no finial or anything like that in the end piece. Getting back to the nib, you can see it's a steel nib, some scroll work, says wingsung. There's that pen and concentric circle logo again, and then EF is extra fine. One of the best things about these wingsung nibs is that they actually write quite well. So this is a wingsung 3003 extra fine. There's definitely some feedback here. It's not incredibly smooth, but it's more about something you would buy, which you want some feedback and a little bit of noise. That's kind of exacerbated by the fact that this is a Midori cotton paper, which has a little bit of texture to it. But it is a pleasant nib to write with, and it's nice and wet for an extra fine, and the line remains quite small. I did a quick comparison here between a Lamy extra fine and the wingsung extra fine. Both were very enjoyable to write with. The Lamy's a little bit smoother, but also you can see a little bit broader. So this is a very nice extra fine to me without being too fine. I think this is really reasonable. And you can see sort of the quality of the craftsmanship when you put no pressure down on this. I give it a pull, and it's going to write in both directions. So that's a good sign from any pen, let alone one that nib was, you know, a fraction of the $2 price. So wingsung really nailed that there. And again, this is the extra fine. I haven't tested out the fine with the 3003 just yet. The pen doesn't include any extra hardware. You get the converter, but no cartridge, no extra nib, no extra feed. Some of the Chinese manufacturers do throw that in there. So again, wingsung extra fine. Limited line variation. Again, it is a affordable steel nib. Maybe there's a little bit as you write, but fairly limited. This is a pretty firm steel nib. It has no problems keeping up. So from that perspective, if you're a kind of a sloppy note taker, then it definitely does a job. And you could see my crazy ramblings from a previous video that had to go in the trash, but definitely does the job nicely if you're a fast writer. So 3003 extra, I'll just start scribbling. No problems keeping up in that extra fine, including with a cartridge converter that's not particularly filled up. It just it does what it's supposed to do. So I have no problems on sort of the upstrokes or any of the sort of lefty problem points. It really does well in all those areas. Oh look, there you go, fell off. So, and even without that piece though, this still works really nicely. It just doesn't have, has a little bit of wiggle. So that cap band is an issue, but past that, it is a quite solid pen and a pretty incredible bargain for $2. So yeah, I think that about covers it. Oh, I always forget to test whether it posts or not, and this one does post. It posts quite well, in fact. So there you have it. This is the wingsung 3003